So much for the gifts. I want you to hear Bob Costas, and then I will tell you, this is NFL commentator. When did this happen? Sunday?
Sunday night.
Sunday night. My reaction, well, you'll hear my reaction. I would be curious if you can anticipate it. And here is what he said. You recall a Kansas City Chiefs player murdered his girlfriend, the mother of his baby, then went to the Kansas City Chiefs training area and in front of his coach or coaches shot himself to death. And he was 25 years old. This whole thing has been somewhat messy. They had a moment of silence at the Chiefs game, and they said it was for victims of domestic violence. If there was going to be a moment of silence, it should have been for a person, not for all victims. It's meaningless. It's politically correct claptrap. One human being is infinitely precious. This woman's name should have been mentioned, or there shouldn't have been anything. And people putting wreaths on this murderer's locker or in any way memorializing him makes me sick. It's just sickening. He's a damn murderer. That's what he is. And if we don't have the ability to call murderers bad, we have lost it, baby. It's over. I'm sick of this. Oh, there were two victims here. No, there wasn't. There was one victim here and one murderer. What was this woman, 22 years old, 23 years old? Took 70 years of her life, motherhood, wifehood, work if she wanted, life, experience, grandchildren, love, difficulty, tragedy, happiness. It's all gone. Every hope destroyed. It's truly sickening. My sympathy is for her. But he had a this, he had a that, he had a that. Society needs to condemn murder in the most strong language that society has. That's why I'm for capital punishment. That is the most strong language we have with regard to murder. But he capitalized himself. That's fine. Saves us a lot of money. And I mean it sincerely. That's how I view it. That's exactly how I view it. Let's have a moment of silence for all victims of domestic violence. Isn't that what they did? I think that's just... Anyway, Bob Costas, who's supposed to be paid for commenting on football, decides that because he knows football, he is therefore has great insights into society, and he will use the television camera to do so. Now, he doesn't have any great insight here, but that's not my point. My point is, I will tell you my point, and I will play for you what he said. Let me tell you in advance, my point is not about guns specifically. He will give this rant about guns. My point is about something else that he does that needs to be addressed. Take the time out. He's supposed to be commenting on football, but he knows the ins and outs of the issue on guns. All right, I will react as soon as you hear him. I will play what he said, or at least part of it. You are listening to the Dennis Prager Show. Hello, my friends. You're listening to the Dennis Prager Show. Bob Costas is an NFL commentator. What network does he work for? NBC Sports. Yes, NBC's Bob Costas. So during halftime, as a result of the murder by a Kansas City Chiefs football player of his 22-year-old girlfriend and mother of his child. So he impregnated a woman and whom he didn't marry, but he did kill her in front of her mother. And this is what Bob Costas has to say.
Well, you knew it was coming. In the aftermath of the nearly unfathomable events in Kansas City, that most mindless of sports cliches was heard yet again. Something like this really puts it all in perspective. Well, if so, that sort of perspective has a very short shelf life, since we will inevitably hear about the perspective we have supposedly again regained the next time ugly reality intrudes upon our games. Please, those who need tragedies to continually recalibrate their sense of proportion about sports would seem to have little hope of ever truly achieving perspective. You want some actual perspective on this? Well, a bit of it comes from the Kansas City-based writer Jason Whitlock, with whom I do not always agree, but who today said it so well that we may as well just quote or paraphrase from the end of his article. Our current gun culture, Whitlock wrote, ensures that more and more domestic disputes will end in the ultimate tragedy, and that more convenience store confrontations over loud music coming from a car will leave more teenage boys bloodied and dead. Handguns do not enhance our safety. They exacerbate our flaws, tempt us to escalate arguments, and bait us into embracing confrontation rather than avoiding it. In the coming days, Javon Belcher's actions and their possible connection to football will be analyzed. Who knows? But here, wrote Jason Whitlock, is what I believe. If Javon Belcher didn't possess a gun, he and Cassandra Perkins would both be alive today.
You know, if the Japanese didn't possess airplanes, there wouldn't have been World War II. Anyway, I'll tell you what annoys me. Not that I differ with him. And I differ with him on very simple grounds. The cities that have the greatest amount of gun control have the greatest amount of gun murder. All right? It's what you call an inconvenient truth. Ooh. That's a term I've heard. No, what annoys me is not that he's wrong. What annoys me is that people on the left or people with left-wing opinions feel they can interject them anywhere they want. That's what. Can you imagine? Now, maybe because of my lack of immersion in the NFL, I'm just wrong. So call me and tell me if I'm wrong. I'd like to know if any National Football League commentator on a national level has used that microphone and that video camera to offer a controversial conservative position. Can you think of any? Are you a football man?
I believe Rush did when he did Monday Night Football for a year.
I don't know if Rush did. I don't know. I know he did Monday Night Football. I think he was removed because of things he said on his show. I think he stuck to football, but it's a good question. In any event, he was dismissed. I think Bob Costas should be dismissed. There has to be, and by the way, he would be wrong, Rush. If he did it, he was wrong. And I don't know if he did it. And I'll tell you why. There have to be areas in life that are politics free. But for the left, that is not the case because it is an all-encompassing religion. And the smugness of people with left-wing views, like this one on gun control, the smugness of I am so right that I will use any platform to impose my views on you. You think you tuned into football? You're a fool. I have a left-wing opinion, and I will give it, sucker. You're not going to have a zone that's free from left-wing influence. We've already taken over the schools and the movies and the newscasts, but we haven't yet taken over the football commentary. But now we're getting there too. That's what sickens me about this thing. Guy can have his opinion, as wrong as it might be, based completely on a subjective take. Completely. It's not based on facts. If gun control helped, if gun control laws helped tremendously or even non-tremendously in stopping gun killing, then Washington, D.C. and Chicago should be among the safest places in America. Doesn't turn out that way. So unsafe that the Washington basketball team changed its name from Bullets to Wizards. That was another contribution to Washington's war on gun crime. The war on all crime, gun crime, choking crime, rape crime, burglary crime, knife crime, is values. And how about this, dear liberals? Fathers. How about this, dear liberals? Religion. Yes, because kids raised in an environment where they believe God said, "Thou shalt not murder," may murder less. I know Bob Costas has not wrestled with that fact. Can you imagine if somebody used halftime to say, folks, what we need is to have kids learn the 10 Commandments. Maybe they won't then shoot people to death. What would the outcry be? Think about it. 1-8-PRAGER-776. 877-243-7776, The Dennis Prager Show. I'm Dennis Prager. Thank you for being with me. It's just fascinating to see what is allowable on the left that isn't on the right. Bob Costas using his platform as a football commentator to give us a sentimental, non-factually based view of a murder committed by a member of the Kansas City Chiefs NFL football team. I really do wonder, I mean it, I wonder what if there had been a commentator who had said the following. Well, you know, a little perspective on this murder that took place here. I just wonder if, was this Jovan Belcher, is that it? Is that the name? If Jovan Belcher, I wonder if he was raised with a dad at home. And I wonder if he attended church regularly. Because I'll bet that the number of murderers in this country who attend church regularly is very, very small. And maybe more than gun control laws, maybe what we need is more self-control consciences. Maybe we need self-control more than gun control. How would that go over? I mean it. I'm asking you who are football aficionados. What if a commentator had said that? People will be talking about gun control, but the real issue in America is the breakdown in self-control. And the best vehicle to self-control that we have ever found has been a God-accountable human being. That people raised to believe that God demands that they not murder, that they not steal, etc. And that if they do, they will be accountable to God in this world and certainly in the next. And that raising a generation without such beliefs has been disastrous. How would that guy fare if he had made such comments during halftime on an NFL game. Tell me what you think. I am curious. 1-8-Prager-776, The Dennis Prager Show. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Dennis Prager Show, hour number 2. If you missed or don't get or whatever, hour 1 or 2 or 3 at any time is Pragertopia, and it is a great gift. I talked about Christmas gifts in the first hour, a survey done by university professors and reported in the Wall Street Journal. And so that is a good one. The subscription to this show, you download it anytime you want, Pragertopia.com. Hello, my friends. Bob Costas is an NFL commentator, a member of the Kansas City Chiefs football team, murdered his girlfriend, the mother of his baby, and then committed suicide. And I have fury at him, and I have fury at Costas. See, the gun control folks never speak about self-control. They speak about gun control. You want a conservative liberal divide? There's one. We who call ourselves conservatives believe that the ultimate problem in evil is self-control. For the left, it is the utensil. Okay, there you have it. That's what they focus on, and while destroying that which elevates character. Liberal policies have helped destroy the inner city black family, and that's undeniable. It's Daniel Patrick Moynihan, the late great Democratic senator, one of the last liberals. The liberals have died out; they become conservative, and the left has taken over liberalism. He recognized this. I think Bill Clinton, in many ways, recognized it. And that's what was done in that way to undermine conscience and self-control. And the other one is the war against religion. As I said, what if a conservative commentator, if they exist, what if a conservative commentator had used the microphone and the ability to have a national audience at a football game where he's supposed to be talking about football? What if he had said, folks, I wonder if Jovan Belcher attended church regularly. Now, maybe he did, folks. I don't know. But I'll tell you this. I'll bet you that the most anti-religious person on the left listening to this show right now would bet that he did not attend church regularly. If you had to bet, I had a yes, the proverbial gun to your head. You must bet either that he was a regular church attender or that he wasn't. What would you bet? Self-control is infinitely more powerful a force for good than gun control. Right? But that's that's conservative talk. Self-control, give me a break. It's like self-control is infinitely more important than self-esteem. Whatever the left has advocated almost always is wrong. Yep. That's correct. Almost always. Wherever it differs from what conservatives. I mean, conservatives and liberals may agree on certain issues, and indeed do. But where there's a distinct left-wing position, it's nearly always wrong. But I'll tell you, aside from the content, what annoys me is the self-righteousness of Bob Costas. People tune in to hear my thoughts on football, and I will take the opportunity to give them my thoughts on gun control. There is a response to Bob Costas, and that is up at foxnews.com. The Truth About Costas, Belcher, and Guns. And it is written by John Lott, the professor who has done so much on this issue. Liberals like to believe that the problem is guns, when the problem, as always, is values. I remember being on Hardball many years ago, and this issue arising and the blaming of guns, and I said, as a Jew, it would sound like to me as if somebody were blaming gas for the gas chambers and not the Nazis. If you didn't have gas, you couldn't have gas chambers. But the issue isn't gas. The issue is conscience, is right and wrong, is good and evil. But if you go to college, you're taught that there's no good and evil, except, of course, in the cases of sexism, intolerance, xenophobia, homophobia, Islamophobia, racism, and bigotry. Then there's good and evil, but not in murder. Now, this columnist that Bob Costas cited has come out with a new corker. Do you have, Rob, do you have the KKK thing there? This is the columnist, Jason Whitlock. He's a sports writer for Fox Sports and a former columnist at the Kansas City Star, an AOL sports writer, a contributor to ESPN, radio personality for WHP and KCSP sports stations in the Kansas City area. He's the guy who was quoted. Here are his intelligent insights now, further illuminated.
I did not go as far as I would like to go because my thoughts on the NRA and America's gun culture, I believe the NRA is the new KKK.
Wow.
And that the arming of so many black youth.
What does the wow mean? I'm curious, by the way, what does the wow mean? Does the wow mean, what a great insight, wow, or wow, you're a moral idiot? Which one is it? I continue.
Loading up our communities with drugs.
Anyway, I don't have any interest in it's disgusting. See, this is another good example of where you can get away with anything you say on the left. Anything. But not only can the right not get away with anything wrong, it can't get away with anything right that it says. The attacks on Susan Rice are declared racist and sexist. But when the Democrats attacked Condoleezza Rice, that was never sexist and never racist. See? So the right gets attacked unfairly, and the left never gets attacked, except by the right, but it doesn't matter because we don't own the media, we only own talk radio. That's the way it is. The NRA is the new KKK. There's no doubt, I mean literally no doubt in my mind, that in the course of American history, I was going to say my lifetime, but I'm not sure, liberal policies will have been seen as far more injurious to black life than the NRA. The Democratic Party has done more harm to blacks in America than the NRA by a factor of, I don't know what factor. I mean, it's exponentially greater. But it is not, obviously, not being perceived as such by most blacks. The reason for all the violence in the inner city is guns. So if there was more gun control, but there is intense gun control in urban areas. It's very hard to get a gun, let alone to carry one. Maybe it always does, as it always does, comes back to values. Maybe that's the issue in good and evil. Values. He will pay no price for saying the NRA is the KKK. None. That's the rule in America. When New York Times columnists say the Tea Party are like the Nazis, that's New York Times columnists. Nothing happens. Nothing. Rush Limbaugh called one woman a slut, and she is a possible Person of the Year in Time magazine. You're listening to the Dennis Prager Show.